Hello and welcome to today's MSSQLtips.com webcast, End-to-End SQL Server Application Performance Management with AimBetter. As SQL Server professionals, I'm sure we've all been in this painful situation, getting that painful question from your management. What's going on with the system? Why are things running so slow? I know everything was fine yesterday. And I'm sure I know what everybody's first response is. I'm not sure, nothing's changed. We have security 100% locked down. How can performance be any different? Well, the reality is the only constant is change. And in today's session, sponsored by AimBetter, we'll learn about how to proactively address performance problems, get to the root cause of performance issues even faster, even if it's not a SQL Server issue, and see how you can get a helping hand when needed. Please keep in mind today's session will be recorded and we'll be sending a follow-up email after today's event to continue your learning. If you have any questions during today's event, please post them in the GoToWebinar controls. I'm Jeremy Kadlec of Edgewood Solutions and MSSQLtips.com. I just want to take a quick minute to thank you for your time today to learn about SQL Server with me. I also want to thank everyone from the community who supported and spread the word about MSSQLtips.com over the last 15 years. We definitely work very hard every day to deliver value to the community. So let's dive in. So the reality is SQL Server performance problems are not necessarily a database design issue or incorrect indexing or a poor SERP procedure. The reality is it's a very complex situation. There's a tremendous amount of growth there again from a performance perspective, a data perspective. There's ever increasing complexities and the business has constant new needs to stay competitive in the marketplace. So it's really imperative to change how you're managing your environment as a SQL Server professional. The reality is the days of checking each server one by one, logging in, seeing what's going on, those days have just come and gone. It's really time for change right now in order to properly manage your SQL Server environment to support the business. So what I'd like to do is introduce you to AimBetter, which is an end-to-end SQL Server performance management tool with both unique and innovative features to save time and solve problems quickly. This is a cloud-based solution that is an intersection between performance monitoring and management, as well as professional services. The application includes a very small install on the host. Management is via a web browser with all data storage and analytics in the cloud, eliminating the need for additional licensing and storage costs. So let's dive in and let's see AimBetter in action. So we're going to go ahead and get started with AimBetter. Here we're on the home screen, and from here we'll go ahead and log in and check out and see how AimBetter works. So from here we're on the home screen, and I'm going to pause this just for a minute to kind of explain a little bit about what's going on in this interface. And there again, there's certainly quite a lot. So as we log in, we're actually able to see a prioritized set of issues here from top to bottom. So we know that our #1 issues are here at the top. We're able to get some basic information related to them in terms of the specific issues. There again, log backup issues, a service not running, disk available space. And there again, this is for the last hour. So here on the left, we're able to see our companies on the left and our servers on the right. So we're able to actually scroll through and see these. These are a list of servers from multiple domains or companies. So if you've been in a situation where there's some sort of merger acquisition, you have the ability to manage everything in one place. And the same is true for a managed service provider. As I mentioned, all the servers are in priority order on one screen for your team to basically divide and conquer. So there again, the most pressing issues are at the very top. You're able to see those, identify what those individual issues are, and there again, scroll down and see your entire environment. One other point here I want to mention real quick is you can see there's 34 servers right now that have issues, but there's a total of 74 that are being monitored. So the ability to toggle through this and kind of see what's going on in the environment. Also keep in mind that these servers can be in the cloud or in your data center. So there again, everything all in one place. So there again, I want to take a minute here to stop again and talk about the performance screen here in AimBetter. And there's a tremendous amount of information on this screen, and we just don't have time to cover it all, but I want to cover some of the highlights here. So at the very top here, we have our servers. So there again, a Windows server, Azure SQL Database, Azure Managed Instance, as well as AWS. So we have the ability to basically toggle through these, as well as with SQL Server and IIS. Across the top, there's 12 tabs with a number of different performance metrics. There again, hosts, there again, core usage, services, processes, images, SQL Server databases, weight stats, etc. So we have a tremendous amount of information on one screen. And you can see here as well, look, we have numerous computers there again on one screen. So there again, the data here is obfuscated, but you're able to see multiple companies, multiple servers, and just a tremendous amount of information there again on a single line: CPU usage, CPU length, etc., disk usage, disk busy. So I'm going to go ahead and continue this. We're going to continue to look at some CPU related information. So we can actually drill down into the CPU data. We'll be able to sort that. Then as we continue from here, we'll be able to take a look at how the CPU is being used. There again, kind of across the board, you have the ability there again to scroll across all those servers and databases. We can look at specific periods of time. We can drill into a specific instance and try to understand what's going on. We have the ability to look at particular time periods and compare the data. So we're comparing 2 specific days. And once this paints, you can kind of see, hey, what's going on here? Oh, there's this anomaly here. Or was it? Did something happen? Was it a reboot? What happened? But you'll be able to get that information and visually see what's going on there again from an average, min, and max perspective. And then from here, what you're able to do is actually pull in some additional counters. So go ahead and do that now. So we're going to go remove the comparison feature and then pull some additional counters in. So here we go. We'll go ahead and add. So you can see that there's a number of probably 50 or more different related counters. We can actually pull in 2 CPU related counters. And there again, this is one of the unique features with AimBetter to break down the CPU usage by hardware and DPC interrupts. So we can see all that there again, all in one interface. From here, we're going to pop over to another server and check out the services as well as our terminal services connections. So there again, we can see across the entire interface what's happening here. We have the ability to filter as needed by name. So there again, if there's something specific you're looking for, and the same thing is true with the processes. We can go through that same filtering process and kind of understand across your entire environment what's occurring. And last but not least, we'll take a look at the database real quick. And there again, we can see the databases that are online and see recovery models, backups, disk usage, there again, all in one place. And from here, we can see a number of the counters that are available as well. So just to kind of give you, and there again, there's a tremendous amount of information here. This is an enterprise level product, so we don't have the time to dive into everything, but just wanted to give you a taste of what's available here with AimBetter. All right, so now we're going to pop over the queries, and we start here. We're going to start looking at the live running queries. So there again, we have data here that's obfuscated just for security purposes, but we can see data across multiple companies, multiple servers, all in a prioritized order. From here, we're able to actually drill into our queries. We can see actually the code on the left. On the right, we can actually see there again, the code that's being issued. We can see some of our detailed performance metrics on the bottom right. We're able to continue to scroll, look through particular queries. This one's really interesting. From here, we're actually able to, there again, see a much larger code set, and there again is code complete. But we also can get some very interesting information here related to client processes. There again, the login, the application, as well as the screen and CPU usage on the client. There again, something very unique to AimBetter that there again is not available with Profiler. And so there again, we can actually start to see usage there again at TempDB as an example. All right, so from here, we're going to go start taking a look at our historical data. And there again, a little bit of a different interface here, but definitely very valuable. So we can see that there's 23 queries here that have CPU usage of 73%. And we can actually drill into these. There again, start seeing code, query plans. There again, be able to understand what's going on from our entire environment there again from an analysis perspective. So we move from there again, a live to analysis perspective. From here, we're going to hop over to Observer, and I really like this set of functionality. I really see information here related to performance as well as operational metrics. So we can take a look at all the activities there again, SQL Server, OS, deadlocks, backups, change tracking, etc. We can see hundreds of SQL Server events that are occurring. And there again, AimBetter's done a really good job of kind of trying to aggregate this data. So there again, you can see everything in one place. From here, we can drill into events, and there again, we can see hundreds of events are occurring in this environment. And there again, we have the ability to filter. We'll take a look at a couple of different categories that we have as options. There again, AimBetter has hundreds of categories that are available that we can scroll through and use. And there again, as we go through that process, we have the ability to see updated data across the entire environment, whether the server is in your data center, the server is in the cloud, we can see that all in one interface. So as we refresh, we're actually able to see the data. We can see during particular time periods, we can see the error message that's occurring, when it occurred. We can drill in and see the code, server name, database name, etc. Understand the parameters that are getting passed and understand what the username is, the application, the host, etc. So there again, very beneficial information to understand a foreign key exception there again in this example. Here's another similar example where you can kind of drill in and see those particular applications. And there again, have all the detail and information in one interface to be able to get a tremendous amount of time savings. We have the same functionality here where we can go ahead and drill in and see a comparison, which there again, is this an anomaly? Is this something new in our environment? Did we push out some new code? From here, last piece we're going to take a look at is the web interface. And this is definitely a really great example of how AimBetter provides end-to-end performance insight. So we can see IaaS traffic across all of our applications. We have the ability to, there again, filter, and we'll filter based on 500 server error messages. We'll be able to have that data get updated. And once it's updated, what we're able to do is actually go back and go see the code that's actually being run. So you can see the post message that's being included. And so from here, we're coming back to our home screen just to kind of come full circle. So with that being said, let me stop this demo real quick and get back to the slides. So let's walk through the value of AimBetter's solution. AimBetter is really the intersection between an application performance management solution and professional services, which provide a tremendous amount of value. With AimBetter, you're able to get that real-time data. And there again, it's available from a holistic perspective. You can get real-time historical data to really be able to solve problems fast. And there again, this is a very simple, quick installation where you can get up and running very quickly. On a number of the interfaces, there's a tremendous amount of information. And there again, on a single pane of glass, you're able to see prioritized issues in your environment to there again, best utilize your resources. I'm sure there's no DBA anywhere around on the face of this earth that's there sitting twiddling their thumbs. We are just way too busy and have way too much work to do. Another big benefit is there's no need for additional hardware or software. There again, SQL Server licensing, Windows licensing, which is traditionally the case with other products. With AimBetter, all that's included as part of your monthly service, which there again provides a tremendous amount of value, true cost dollar savings. AimBetter is not only able to provide you insight into SQL Server, but also provides insight into servers in the cloud, virtualized instances, terminal services, IaaS. And remember, all this is possible for $300 per instance with volume licensing available. And I just want to set expectations. We really didn't even give AimBetter the benefit of the doubt in this last demo here. AimBetter covers a tremendous amount of information. So I want to try to walk through a couple quick examples to show some additional value with AimBetter. So TempDB. Who hasn't had issues with TempDB? Man, TempDB can be a huge performance contention point for numerous applications, whether it's large transactions, extensive use of temp tables, basically people loading data into temp tables. TempDB in a lot of applications, unfortunately, just gets crushed. I've even seen situations where I've had developers say to me, hey, I'm taking a look at this query plan, and I see these things, work tables, work files. I don't even know what they are. Those aren't tables in our system or our database. Well, let's dive in and show how AimBetter can help from a TempDB perspective that there again is very common in a lot of environments. So I'm going to start at the very top here. So once again, we have our consolidated list of servers. We can see this top server here for the last hour. It has a lot of red, definitely catches our attention. So it looks like we have a log oversized, long-running queries, a login exception, wait stats, CPU, SQL Server connection response time. Well, how does that all come together? What does that all mean? Well, when we click on this server, we get to our next level of detail. And what we can see is, this query is running a long time. I wonder what these queries are. They're all on the same server. They're active too. Wow, look at this. The period is almost 2 days. So this has been running for over 40 hours. Should we really have anything in our environment running for 40 hours? What is this other message? SQL % log data more than, Man, that's been 20 hours too. Huh, same server. It's close to 900%. That's a tremendous amount of growth. Well, just to come straight forward with everybody, unfortunately, we've had to protect data here, but this is on TempDB. And there again, we can see 4 queries have been running for 40 plus hours and a transaction log that's there again, close to 900% growth. So let's drill in to try to see what's happening here. So there again, we can kind of drill in, see our queries that are running. From here, we can actually start, we can see a bunch of the queries that are running for, wow, 40 hours. That's a long time. We can actually start seeing the code that's associated with it. And there again, start looking into execution plans. We can also get, there again, a lot of metrics to understand what's going on in the environment, as well as get these client metrics. There again, what the application is, what the screen that they're on in the application, as well as the CPU usage there again on the client machine, things that you cannot get there again natively from profile or extended events, etc. And what this does is really provide you a tremendous amount of information in a single screen to really be able to troubleshoot the issue and continue to move forward. So we see things at a micro level here because we understand what these queries are, but let's take a step back a little bit to understand what's happening at a macro level. So from here, we're going to go back outside of that instance and really try to understand what's going on. So the reality is AimBetter captures all the activity in the environment. It records all the data for the historical analysis and the investigation, something that's just not available directly with the native DMVs. And this data collection is really significant time savings to really determine the root cause of the issue by there again, simply navigating through a few screens in AimBetter to see the detailed code as well as the aggregate metrics. So in this example, we're looking at TempDB, but the same thing can be true with blocking, deadlocking, or some sort of code issue. But we'd be able to see there again, this example, we can see our transactional growth is about 16 gigabytes. We can see, there's 7 open transactions. We can see just our transaction duration just constantly increasing. And there again, if we have a need to pull some additional metrics in, we're able to do so directly here on the right. And what all this data does there again at a macro and micro level is really provide significant time savings to the entire IT team. But then, we talked about deadlocks, we talked about blocking, we talked about maybe a code issue that got passed out and maybe got deployed earlier today and having a problem. So what happens if you see an issue like this, or maybe something different, but you're just not sure how to resolve it? Well, what do you do then? Well, that's where the AimBetter professional services come into place. What they're able to do is help answer questions for you and your team just by opening a ticket. They provide daily and weekly emails to help focus your team on what the issues are. And there again, this is a unique offering from both a product and services perspective because it's included as part of your monthly subscription. So there again, you get that proactive alerting, and there again, AimBetter will be there to help you with that initial install and as you address questions that you have as they arise. But you get the technical support that you need not only for you as a SQL Server DBA, but for your entire company, your entire IT team. The next piece I want to talk about is what I like to call the observer equation. I definitely see a tremendous amount of value with observer. And I'd like to dig in this a little bit deeper from our earlier demo. So what I see observer is there again, this cross-section of both performance and operational data. There again, AimBetter is able to organize a tremendous amount of information there again, over 1,200 metrics kind of in a single screen and have it in a couple nice interfaces. But we're able to look at event log data, database backups, deadlocks, change tracking, and there again, change tracking is huge to me. When I try to troubleshoot an issue, I try to figure out what's changed last and try to figure out what that impact was. From here, we're actually really able to understand the correlation and consolidate information there again in a very intuitive interface. And what does this do for you? This really helps you answer the tough questions that you get. So when we take a look at when I look at Observer, my feeling is that this is really a means to answer those really tough management questions, whether it's an operational issue or a performance issue. So here we have there again a breakdown of our data across the top, our overview, event log, database backup, deadlocks, change tracking, and we can see there again we're focusing just on SQL Server events. If you look back at our earlier demo, we had additional events as well, but we're just focusing on SQL Server. And there again, we can see a permission violation. Looks like there's close to 1,500 of these. So let's try to dig into this and see what's happening here. So from here, what we're actually able to do is actually dig into this duplicate key issue. So there again, what we're able to see, number one, is what the issue is. We're able to see when it's occurring. So we can see over the last 24 hours how many are occurring. We can see that the code that is being actually run. So we can see the object name, we can see the index name, and the duplicate key value. There again, without that information, it's very difficult to basically troubleshoot this issue. We can see that same information here as well as the code. So what does this mean? What AimBetter is really trying to do is piece all this data together for you, because doing this on your own is extremely time consuming, and there again could be a full-time job. AimBetter provides a very intuitive means to navigate all this data to there again help you resolve the issue fast. This is a major time savings for busy DBAs to try to understand what's going on and say, hey, did this happen today or has this been going on? So how can AimBetter help solve that? Well, that's where we can take a look at there again, the same permission duplicate key issue, but there again, kind of look at it at more of a macro level. And there again, you can see we have multiple servers here. We're able to see these performance metrics all for this specific server there again for this last week. And I think this is very helpful, but what if we had something like this? This screen, I think, is extremely valuable based on the comparison. It's very easy to be able to compare two time periods to understand, is this an anomaly? Has this issue been occurring for weeks? Is this just been occurring now because we pushed out some new code? Is this a brand new issue that nothing has changed? Is there some new application in the environment that we need to now address? Well, with Observer, you'll be able to get that historical information to definitely understand what's going on in the environment, to be able to make those decisions, to understand how to best address your issues. So from here, AimBetter has helped companies since 2013. They've had expansive growth over the last 7 years. They're definitely that cross-section between SQL Server management and performance management, as well as professional services. Their team is working hard on a daily basis to constantly innovate and come up with new and unique features to there again help the community. And when you think about, and there again, as a SQL Server DBA, I think of the world as the database. But in reality, AimBetter is able to provide more of that end-to-end view. There again, data at the client side, data at your application servers, data at virtualized servers, operating system, SQL Server, etc. So there again, at a high level, we've got our database and IaaS, but AimBetter really incorporates items across the board from the client, network connections, and storage, and all the way back. And what this really means is it provides us as SQL Server professionals and IT professionals a significant time savings, and it's a tool there again for the entire IT team. So I'm going to go ahead and push out a poll real quick. All right, and the poll is getting distributed right now. And the poll's question is, are you interested in learning more about AimBetter? So the options are yes, I'd like a personal demo. Yes, I'd like pricing. Yes, I'd like an evaluation version. Yes, but not right now, or not at this time. So if everybody can please take a minute to answer the poll, we definitely would appreciate it. And I just definitely want to set expectations. As I mentioned earlier in today's session, we've briefly covered some of the features that AimBetter has to offer. It's a large enterprise product, and entire portions of this application we just didn't even have time to cover based on the time constraints. So I definitely would encourage you, if you're interested, to definitely sign up for a personal demo or get an evaluation version where you can basically get AimBetter in your environment for 10 days to actually get a good understanding of how AimBetter can help your specific environment. So if everyone can please take a minute to respond to the poll, we'll go ahead and shut the poll down here in about 10 seconds or so. So if everyone could please respond, we'd appreciate it. If anyone does have any questions for any of the folks at AimBetter, please feel free to use the questions portion of the GoToWebinar controls, and we'll definitely respond to as many questions as possible. It looks like we do have a bunch that we need to get addressed. All right, so I'll give everybody about 10 more seconds to vote, and then we'll move on. And just keep in mind, if you are interested in some additional information about AimBetter, keep in mind in the handouts portion of the GoToWebinar controls, there is a PDF there. It's an article that was actually released yesterday on MS SQL Tips on AimBetter, so definitely feel free to check that out as well. All right, so I'm gonna give everybody about 10 more seconds, and we're gonna go ahead and close the poll. So please vote now. 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. And then from here, I'd like to open the floor up to some questions, and we will get started. All right, so it looks like we have a question related to how much history data is kept. So that's a great question. So as you can see on the interface, we showed a lot of 7-day windows and 1-hour windows, but there actually are 30 days of data that actually can be kept. So hopefully that answers that question. All right, the next question is related to overhead. What is the overhead for the data collection? And there again, straight from AimBetter, they're saying it's close to 0 because all the data analysis is happening in the AimBetter cloud. So hopefully that answers that question. All right, so we have a question related to database growth and table growth. So there again, I apologize, this is something we just didn't have time to cover today. But what we're actually able to do in AimBetter is to look at the query tab for the session and analyze the growth of the data as well as the database. And we can actually look at the growth in the performance tab as well. So there's basically 2 areas to do that for a specific database or table. All right, so we have a question related to getting an overview for the details of a particular issue for a specific problem. There again, kind of if I understand the question correctly, which I may not, and I apologize for that. If you're looking for the details of a performance issue, if we kind of frame it from that perspective, the home page is definitely the best place to begin troubleshooting. You can definitely consider the home page as a means to use as monitoring for a knock as an example. And on the home page, what will actually happen is the data will be in prioritized order from top to bottom. So you have the ability to see the issues, drill into them depending on what the issue is. There again, we walk through one particular example with TempDB and solve both query and log issues. But also keep in mind, if it's something you have some questions about, you can definitely reach out to the support team and be able to get some information from them to help troubleshoot the issue as well. All right, next question is related to being able to see the versions of SQL Server running, be able to see them all in the same place. And according to the AimBetter team, yes, you're able to see them on the server tab. All right, if anyone has any more questions, please feel free to post them at this time. All right, we had another question related to TempDB, and I think we covered a little bit of this in today's session. There again, getting some information related to TempDB issues and performance. So there again, we can see information related to why TempDB is growing. There again, the corresponding code that's responsible for it. And there again, it's something that AimBetter is constantly collecting, as well as seeing kind of the high level metrics for the TempDB usage. There was another question related to does AimBetter support the HANA database? And right now, SQL Server, I apologize, right now AimBetter is supporting SQL Server and is in beta release right now for Oracle. But I'm sure at some point in time in the future, the team is going to be working to provide additional functionality just based on the needs of the community. All right, so we've got about 1 minute left. Is there any, and I apologize if we haven't been able to get to everyone's questions, but just want to see if there's any from AimBetter who wanted to say a few words.
Hi, Jeremy.
Yes.
Hi, thank you very much for the hospitality. We are delighted to be with you all today. And we invite everyone that's interested to contact and connect us. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Definitely do appreciate it. We're about out of time. We're going to go ahead and wrap up right here. So I just definitely want to encourage everyone there again to be a change agent in your environment, and there again work to make performance issues obsolete. There again, those performance issues are certainly a major issue for the organization. One way to start down that path is to get a 10-day free trial of AimBetter. And there again, we have the URL here. You can click on that and go forward with that. And what you can do is actually work with the AimBetter support team to basically get AimBetter set up in your environment and see the results. There is a FAQ you can check out as well to there again cover more of the functionality that we didn't have a chance to get to today. And as I said previously, I apologize, we could not cover everything. AimBetter has an extensive amount of functionality that we just couldn't cover in 30 minutes. If you do have questions, there again, you can contact support. There's a URL you can use that there again will pass out to the community, as well as a phone number and email. As you've worked through that process, what I'd really encourage you to do is really outline the value to your team, as well as the cost savings and the deep insight. And then there again, get your management on board with AimBetter to there again help the entire organization. So with that being said, I'd like to thank everyone for joining today's session. Please be on the lookout for our emails after today's event to check out the archive and get started with AimBetter. This is Jeremy Kadlec. Have a great day, and please tell a friend about MS SQL Tips. Thank you.